Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Said Dan channel. I'm going to share with you something I've never seen before. And it was shared by Stuart Alderati, who is Ripple's chief legal officer, so he's their top in-house lawyer. And also I've noted there has been an increase lately in public communication from Stuart Alderati, and I like it. He's been getting verbally much more aggressive in a professional way, but still getting much more aggressive in his messaging and highlighting just how disgusting an agency the SEC is. And so as it turns out that there's a particular form of legal attack that the SEC has been engaging in, which they actually tried back in 1946, and I'm specifically regarding, of course, the Howey test. They already lost on this particular argument, and they're using it again right now. Completely ridiculous. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, first, just to kind of set the table and point out that he's, and I like this. This is certainly the opposite of a critique. I love Stuart Alderati coming out and just calling a spade. And I'm going to share with you at the beginning part of the video here something that he said literally yesterday. And it stems, the article here stemmed from that comment, this article from the Crypto Basic titled, Ripple General Counsel Says SEC Chair is Now We the People Problem. In a tweet today, the General Counsel at Ripple Labs, Stuart Alderati, slammed Gary Gensler, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission chairman. Alderati asserts that Gensler considers the judicial process a weapon to be wielded. He added that the SEC boss sees congressional oversight as a game of hide-and-seek. According to Ripple's general counsel, Gensler is no longer a cryptocurrency problem, but a we the people problem, and the exact quote is as follows, from Stuart Alderati. For this SEC chair, the judicial process is a weapon to be wielded, and congressional oversight is a game of hide-and-seek. This isn't a crypto problem. This is a we the people problem. Now, look, I'll say that the SEC has been rotten from the top down, even predating Kim Jong-Gensler taking over. It just seems whoever's at the top, from Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman, now you got obviously Kim Jong-Gensler. It starts at the top, and then people are impacted by that working there, and there are undoubtedly, yes, of course, as there would be in any gigantic organization, good people and bad people. But the bad people seem to have no trouble fulfilling the mission of these absolute monsters. So when you're talking about the SEC v. Ripple case filed under Jay Clayton, fine, the initial filing, not blaming Kim Jong-Gensler for that, but he's continuing it, so I still blame him absolutely. But I just want to point out, and this is what Stuart Alderati shared this afternoon, that the SEC, the argument that they're making now in the SEC v. Ripple case, the Supreme Court already ruled against, one of the arguments, the Supreme Court already ruled against. And they're arguing against, so they argued it in 1946, Supreme Court didn't like it and now they started arguing it again over the last couple years. And so here's what Stuart Alderati wrote this afternoon. In 1946, in its Supreme Court Howey brief, the SEC unsuccessfully argued that an investment in a common enterprise was unnecessary, providing there was a community of interest. The SEC was wrong then, and it is still wrong now. Common interest not equal to common enterprise. And so what he's talking about here, and just to jog your memory in case that isn't ringing a bell, it goes back to this argument of, because common enterprise, that's a prong of the Howey test, we all know that. But what about common interest? What if you have an interest in gold, for example? What if you mine gold? What if you're a manufacturer of electronics and you use gold in your electronics? What if you're a jeweler? What if you just outright sell gold and you're not a miner? Sell into open markets. Well, then you all have a common interest in gold existing and being worth something. That's a common interest. Where's the common enterprise, though? Well, there isn't one, right? And so doesn't this make you think of the SEC's embodiment theory as it pertains in the SEC v. Ripple case? Everything that Ripple has ever touched and every transaction as a result that will, from actually in the future at any place in the universe for the rest of time, that will all be because of Ripple, and as a result, it's the embodiment of Ripple's efforts and promises, so on and so forth. That's the argument the SEC is making. And it's just completely absurd, because if you're looking at other developers building on top of the XRP ledger, sure, there's a common interest, just like there would be with various people utilizing gold for various reasons, including businesses, of course. But that doesn't mean that there's a common enterprise, some sort of central authority that's orchestrating all of this. That's complete nonsense. And it turns out that back in 1946, the SEC was arguing the same damn thing that they are arguing today. I kid you not. And so there's this part, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll make it full screen for those of you that actually want to share or read the entire thing that's on your screen here. But Stuart Alderati, highlighted with this red circle, if you will, or border, whatever you want to call it. It's not an actual circle, obviously, but the people use the term circled, even if it's not the shape of a circle. You know what I'm saying? But highlighting the pertinent part of it here, and it reads as follows. And again, so this is from the SEC leading up to the 1946 verdict in the Howey case. And look, I've read the Supreme Court ruling in the Howey case, and I've actually shared it on this channel at least a few times. But what I've not read, and that's why I've never seen this before, I had not read the actual briefs leading up to it. And so this is getting into the weeds, but this is something that's simple to understand. And again, having never seen this, so I was just like, it just kind of is just like one of those moments where I just kind of like face palmed and I just started laughing, honestly, to myself, because I'm just like, these people know what they're doing. They know this doesn't work. They know it's a bad argument. So it didn't pass muster with the judges in the Supreme Court, the justices. And so now they're thinking that they can just pull fast one on Judge Torres here. Like, so she's not going to notice. Is that what they're hoping? That this is something that already didn't work in 1946, and now it's going to work in this ruling, which is supposed to come in 2023? So here's what the SEC wrote back in 1946. While some of the cases do stress elements in the particular situations making the enterprise a common one, there is no suggestion in the statutory language that an investment contract is limited to an investment in a single enterprise. Excuse me. The requirement of a public offering, Section 4.1, does, of course, necessitate sufficient community of interest to make the individual units offered substantially similar investments. So there you go. So and granted, like, to be fair, the fact that they were arguing this, which was a novel theory certainly at the time, it's a bit more passable, because this is what led to the Howey test, which made it clear what a common enterprise is, and that it's a prong of the Howey test. So it's a requirement in order for something to pass as an investment contract. So given that there wasn't the Howey test in place when the SEC wrote this, you could to some degree give them a little bit more of a pass, even though even at that point, the Supreme Court found that this is outside the boundaries of legal precedent, and so they set an additional legal precedent to make that clear. But in 2023, to be arguing the same damn thing is completely unforgivable and inexcusable, for sure. So again, they wrote here, look at the language here. There is no suggestion in the statutory language that an investment contract is limited to an investment in a single enterprise. Well, the Supreme Court after this made it very clear that, yes, there is, because there was precedent to indicate that, and then they made it extra clear at the Supreme Court level. So a bunch of people having common interest does not make something an investment contract. But they literally wrote it here. Look at this. They used the words community of interest. These people at the SEC are absolute monsters. Little prick, asshat hellspawns. They's the devil. They are absolutely awful. I'm convinced that nature accidentally made them. It was a big mistake. Big mistake. They're just, it harms investors unquestionably to an extreme level here. So how can it be that you can look back at this, see the SEC argued this in 1946, resulted in the Howey test that made it clear, no, it's not common interest, not community of interest, it's a common enterprise. How can you know that, which they do? Absolutely they know this. And then argue it starting in 2020, we're going to bring back that common interest thing. And after the Howey test? Folks, That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm very optimistic that Judge Torres is going to properly rule here, at least as it pertains to secondary market transactions for XRP. XRP is going to be allowed to continue to exist in the United States. And if justice is sufficiently done, XRP will continue to be legally utilized by Ripple, even if there's some sort of penalty or this or that. But my gosh, if it comes to it, if this thing makes it to the Supreme Court, the SEC is going to lose unquestionably. God, these people are monsters. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.